All right, so today we're diving into a world where, well, charisma and controversy collide. We're tackling the Anna Sorokin saga.
AKA Anna Delvey.
Right, Anna Delvey. We're trying to answer that big question.
Visionary or con artist?
Exactly, grifter or gifted. You've sent us a ton of material, court documents, news articles, even social media posts. It's quite the reading list.
Yeah, it seems like everyone has an opinion on this case.
And rightfully so. It's wild.
Some see her as like a savvy entrepreneur, others as a straight-up criminal.
But beyond the headlines, what did she actually do?
That's what we're here to figure out.
Okay, so Anna Sorokin's story doesn't start in, the glitz and glam of New York City. She was born in Russia
Right.
and later moved to Germany with her family.
Pretty ordinary beginning.
Right, a pretty average start.
On the surface, yeah. But even in her early life, there are some reports that suggest she had a somewhat ambitious personality, even detached. Not necessarily a red flag at that point, but maybe a hint of what was to come.
Interesting. So this seemingly average girl ends up in New York City.
Yeah.
And decides to reinvent herself completely, adopts the persona of Anna Delvey, a German heiress. And she really commits to this role. Designer clothes, luxury hotels, even private jets.
Yeah, and that's where that line between ambition and delusion starts to get blurry. She cultivates this aura of wealth, not just by spending money, but like strategically placing herself in the art scene, rubbing shoulders with the elite.
So it's almost like she studied the playbook
Yeah.
for like breaking into this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And it all feeds into her grand plan, the Anna Delvey Foundation. This was supposed to be the exclusive arts foundation, like a Soho house on steroids.
Yeah.
But of course, to launch something like that, she needed millions.
Millions. And that's where things take a darker turn.
Yeah.
Instead of securing legitimate funding, Sorokin allegedly resorts to forging documents, bouncing checks, exploiting financial loopholes.
Oh, wow.
The court documents you provided really detail a complex web of deceit. It's honestly impressive how she kept it going for as long as she did.
Okay, so this is where like that visionary argument starts to crumble for me.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be ambitious, but it's another to allegedly build your dreams on lies.
That's a good point. And what's fascinating is that she didn't just allegedly con banks.
Right.
She targeted individuals, too. People who considered her a friend. Rachel Deloche-Williams, a photo editor at Vanity Fair, is a prime example. Sorokin racked up, allegedly, a $62,000 debt on Williams's credit card during a trip to Morocco.
Oh, wow. Imagine the betrayal.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom the level of, like, manipulation and trust involved in pulling that off. Williams's book, My Friend Anna, which you included in the sources, gives a chilling firsthand account of how Sorokin operated.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that more.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does this high-flying, allegedly fraudulent life come crashing down? From what I gathered, it seems like unpaid bills, bounced checks, and mounting debts finally caught up with her.
Right. In 2017, there was a sting operation that led to her arrest. And Rachel Deloche-Williams actually played a key role in it, cooperating with the police to bring Sorokin down. It must have been an incredibly difficult decision for her.
Absolutely. Facing your friend, someone you trusted, and admitting their betrayal to the authorities, that takes courage. And then, of course, the highly publicized trial, Sorokin was found guilty on multiple counts of grand larceny and theft of services.
Even during the trial, Sorokin maintained a carefully crafted image.
Really?
Yeah. She had a stylist for her courtroom appearances, which really captivated the media. Makes you wonder, was this a calculated attempt to sway public opinion? Like a final power play?
No.
Or was it simply her inability to let go of the persona she had so meticulously built?
It's a great question, and it speaks to the difficulty of separating the real Anna Sorokin from the Anna Delvey she created. And even in the face of a guilty verdict, this wasn't the end of her story.
Not even close. In fact, her story takes an even more unexpected turn after prison. But we'll dive into that in part 2 of our deep dive. So we've established that Anna Sorokin was ambitious, maybe even to a fault, and willing to cross legal and ethical lines to achieve her goals.
Definitely.
But what's really fascinating is how this story resonates with people on such a deep level.
Right? Even after everything that's come to light, some people still view her as like a folk hero, someone who exposed the hypocrisy of the elite.
Yeah.
It's like they admire her audacity, her willingness to, challenge the system.
It speaks to, I think, a certain disillusionment with wealth and privilege.
Oh.
People see Sorokin as someone who infiltrated a world that's built on appearances, and by playing their game, she exposed its shallowness.
But does that excuse her actions?
Right.
I mean, she hurt a lot of people, not just faceless institutions, but individuals who trusted her.
That's the ethical dilemma at the heart of this story. Can we admire her ambition while condemning her methods? It forces us to examine our own values and ask ourselves what we're willing to tolerate in the pursuit of success.
It's a question that seems particularly relevant in today's world, where social media often glorifies wealth and status.
Right.
Sorokin herself was a master at curating her image online, projecting a life of luxury and exclusivity. In a way, she was playing the same game as many influencers and celebrities, just on a more extreme level.
And that raises an important point. Sorokin's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of equating image with reality. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with carefully curated online personas, it's easy to lose sight of what's genuine and what's fabricated.
Okay, so let's talk about Sorokin's psychology.
Okay.
We know she was ambitious, manipulative, even charming.
Yeah.
But was there something deeper driving her actions? You mentioned narcissism earlier. Could that be a piece of the puzzle?
Absolutely. Individuals with narcissistic personality disorder often have an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. They believe they are special, deserving of special treatment regardless of the consequences.
So for someone like Sorokin, the rules might not apply,
Right.
at least not in her mind.
Exactly.
It's like she saw herself as above the law, entitled to the life she desired, even if it meant deceiving others to get it.
And her alleged lack of empathy would explain why she seemed unfazed by the harm she caused. The focus was always on her own goals and desires, with little regard for the impact on others.
So wasn't there an element of intelligence and strategy involved in her cons?
Oh, for sure.
It takes a certain level of cunning to infiltrate those elite circles
Absolutely.
and maintain the facade for as long as she did.
Con artists are often highly intelligent individuals. They're skilled at reading people, identifying vulnerabilities, and tailoring their approach to exploit those weaknesses. Sorokin's alleged ability to gain people's trust, to convince them of her fabricated story. It speaks to her intelligence and social skills.
Let's talk about Rachel Deloche-Williams again.
Okay.
You mentioned that Sorokin targeted those closest to her.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on how that dynamic might have worked in Williams' case?
Well, Williams in her book describes Sorokin as incredibly charming and persuasive. She was constantly showering Williams with gifts and compliments, creating a sense of indebtedness and obligation. This type of manipulative tactic is common among con artists. They build relationships based on manufactured generosity to later exploit that trust for their own gain.
So it's not just about intelligence.
No.
It's about emotional manipulation as well. Sorokin used Williams' friendship, her willingness to help, as a tool to further her own agenda.
Exactly. And that's what makes her story so compelling and so disturbing. It's a reminder that anyone can be a target, even those who consider themselves savvy and discerning. Con artists prey on our inherent desire to trust, our belief in the good in others.
So what happens to Anna Sorokin after the glitz and glamour fade,
Right.
and she's left facing the consequences of her actions?
Well,
Buckle up, because her story takes another unexpected turn.
that's right. Prison doesn't mark the end for Anna Sorokin. In fact, it almost seems like it's the beginning of a new chapter, one that's arguably even more fascinating than the one that came before. But we'll delve into that in the final part of our deep dive.
So we've explored Anna Sorokin's rise and fall, her ambition, her manipulation, and the psychological factors that might have fueled her actions. But now we're at, arguably, the most perplexing chapter of her story, life after prison.
It's almost as if her time behind bars didn't diminish her ambition, it amplified it. She emerges from prison and immediately starts building a new empire, this time leveraging her notoriety.
It's like she took the blueprint for creating Anna Delvey, the fake heiress, and applied it to Anna Sorokin, the convicted con artist. She lands a Netflix deal, becomes active on social media, even curated an art show from house arrest.
If you think about it, it's a brilliant strategy, albeit morally questionable. She understood the public's fascination with her story and used it to her advantage. By controlling the narrative, she's maintained a level of power and influence that most convicted felons could only dream of.
And she's not just passively riding the wave of her infamy. She launched a podcast, interviewing artists, entrepreneurs, even some of her critics. It's like she's creating a platform to reframe her story, to present herself as more than just a con artist.
The podcast is fascinating. It gives us a glimpse into her thinking. She's articulate, insightful, even charming. It's easy to forget that she was convicted of serious crimes.
Right. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about her. Is this genuine remorse and a desire to make amends? Or is it just another layer of manipulation? A carefully crafted performance designed to rehabilitate her image.
That's the million-dollar question, and I don't think there's an easy answer. It's possible that she's capable of both, feeling remorse while also strategically using her platform to her advantage.
And then there's the whole Dancing with the Stars appearance. It was almost surreal seeing her on that stage, with a bedazzled ankle monitor, no less. Talk about a way to stay in the public eye.
It was a bold move. It certainly generated a lot of buzz. Some praised her resilience, while others condemned the show for giving a platform to a convicted criminal. It speaks to the polarizing nature of her story, the way she simultaneously repels and fascinates us.
So where do we draw the line? Should someone like Anna Sorokin be allowed to profit from her crimes? Should she be given a platform to potentially influence others? It's a tough ethical question.
It is, and there's no simple answer. On the one hand, we believe in rehabilitation, second chances. On the other hand, we want justice for the victims, and we worry about glorifying criminal behavior.
Her story challenges our notions of redemption, success, and the American dream itself. She achieved a twisted version of that dream, built on lies and manipulation. But her relentless pursuit of it, even after being exposed, is both unsettling and captivating.
It makes us wonder, what does it truly mean to be successful in a society that often prioritizes wealth and status over integrity? Are we all complicit in creating a system that rewards those who know how to play the game, even if the game is rigged?
It's a sobering thought. Now, while she's building this post-prison empire, she's also fighting deportation. She's made it clear that she wants to stay in the United States, claiming it's her home.
It's ironic, isn't it? The country she allegedly conned is now the place she's fighting to stay in. It speaks to the complex relationship she has with America, the allure of the opportunities it represents, even for someone who exploited those opportunities for her own gain.
So what's next for Anna Sorokin? Will she successfully rebrand herself as a legitimate businesswoman? Will she be deported? Will she ever truly escape the shadow of Anna Delvey? Only time will tell.
But one thing's for sure, her story is far from over. She's a master at reinvention, at captivating the public's attention. And whether you love her or hate her, you can't deny that she's a force to be reckoned with.
Anna Sorokin's story is a cautionary tale, a mirror reflecting our own cultural obsessions with wealth, status, and the allure of a good con. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the society we live in.
So as you go about your day, keep that in mind. Question the narratives you're presented with. Be wary of those who promise too much. And remember that the line between ambition and deception can be razor thin.
Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.